What's going on, everyone? If you're new to this channel, my name is Cody, and I'm a graphic designer based out of San Diego. And hopefully my mustache doesn't scare you away. I promise I'm just trying it out, so if it's a little creepy, I'm sorry, but just bear with me. Today we're going to talk about sketch. So I've been getting a lot of comments from people on my YouTube videos requesting that I make more sketch videos. So this is one from Adam John Leah. He says, "Thank you for the excellent tutorial. I would encourage you to please make more sketch videos. Much appreciated." Well, thank you, Adam. Definitely. So I hear you guys' feedback, and I wanted to make another sketch video today. So we're going to jump into the software, and let's make a quick landing page for like a adventure outdoor type style brand. So for this design, I'm envisioning a page that we can get users to want to scroll through and explore the different pieces of content. So maybe using some nice like landscape imagery or some lifestyle imagery, using some supporting typography to sort of build like a story on the page. So I'm going to kind of explore that and see what I come up with and kind of just design on the fly. And maybe we can find something that looks cool, that is engaging for people to interact with. So now we are in the magical application of Sketch. Now, I know a lot of you are like, what is Sketch? Like, I'm used to Photoshop, and I love that. I know. I used to love Photoshop. I still love Photoshop. It holds a special place in my heart. I use it for almost everything photo related. But now when I design websites and apps or anything really digital vector-based, I do it in Sketch, with the exception of like Illustrator for doing, some really intricate kind of illustration stuff. But you can illustrate in Sketch depending on what it is, like buttons and icons and things like that. But you got to leverage the softwares for what they're built for. So Photoshop is primarily made for image manipulation and photography and that sort of thing. Sketch is made primarily for user interface design. So you're going to have to evolve, you're going to have to adapt, and I recommend that you learn Sketch. So this is why I made this video, so that you're a little bit more familiar with the features and you can design very quickly in this software. There's a lot of cool features that'll make your life a little bit easier. So I know you die-hard Photoshop fans probably aren't going to like this, but it's time to evolve. It's time to go into softwares that are made for what their purpose is. So this is Sketch. So our layer panels on the left, we've got some sizing kind of transform tools here, fills, borders, shadows, inner shadows, Gaussian blur. So a lot of the same terminology that you would see in Photoshop, but everything here is laid out strategically in a way that will help you design more efficiently for user interface design. So enough about that. Let's just start off here with inserting a new artboard. So we're going to insert artboard. And since we're doing a website landing page, we're going to go to one of these pre-programmed kind of templated sizes here. So you don't have to kind of guess what sizes are anymore. Sketch made it very convenient with all these sizes on the right side. So for now, we're going to do our desktop view first. So we'll do desktop HD. And what it did there, it just made a nice little artboard for me. And I can just grab this and I can bring it down because I know for a fact that my page is going to be a little bit longer than, 1024 or something like that. So I usually start by just dragging that down, kind of giving myself a little bit more room to play around with. So come up to the top here, and I also want to turn on my guides. So if I go to view, this little guy right here, if I click this, we want to click layout settings. This will allow us to put a grid in there. You see that? Now right now it's not centered, and I want it to be a little bit more true to what like a bootstrap or like a web-based grid would be. So I'm going to make sure I click center. It'll center those. And I want the width to match what I have here. So let's do 1440 we had? And let's just hit OK. Oh, it didn't center it. Hold on. So let's click on that again. Layout settings, center, boom. Now we have a full width kind of grid system here that we can use to sort of eyeball and just make sure that our content is nicely kind of laid out and it's consistent throughout the whole page. So we'll go ahead and click OK. And you can do more things like your offsets, your columns. I like 12 column grid for this. You can change your gutter width. Some people do like 30, but we'll use this for now. So now that we have our sort of skeleton or kind of backbone for this site, we can start building on top of this, and we can either turn this off with Control L or turn it back on with Control L. So that's like a little hotkey if you want to kind of toggle that on and off. I know some people find it annoying to have this on all the time. I do personally because I like to see what the final output would look like. So a quick little toggle will turn on and off. But for now, we're gonna keep it on because we haven't even really done anything. So let's start by inserting a shape. So let's do a rectangle, and we're just gonna start in the left-hand corner and just drag it across this way. This is gonna be our navigation bar. And see how Sketch kind of tells you how big that is. So 1440 by, let's just try 80 for now. And then you've got your fill and your colors. So let's turn the border off and let's give it a fill of white. And maybe we want like a subtle drop shadow on this. So let's just add a shadow. Let's zoom in here. You can hold the spacebar to move up, get the little move tool. And I'm gonna toggle this off because I wanna see what the shadow looks like. So I want a subtle shadow. So let's click into this and let's just bring the opacity like right here. And maybe set the blur to like 10. Let's see what that does. Oh, that's looking nice. I might even go on the y-axis 1, and maybe the blur, let's do 6 maybe. And then I might even just tweak the color a little bit more because I want it to be very like soft. That probably won't show up on top of an image, which we're gonna put here. But if we're scrolling over other content like white areas or like maybe even a gray background, this nice little subtle shadow will indicate that this is the bottom of our navigation bar. Cool, so we have a navigation bar. Now we need to make up a like brand or logo. So I think I talked about making like an outdoor kind of lifestyle brand. So let's go to Insert Shape. We'll go to Oval. And I'm just gonna draw with Shift and dragging. Let's do like let's see, our navigation bar is 80, so let's do like a 60. So we've got a little circle here. I'm gonna take the fill off and I'm gonna keep the border. Let's go to like a darker color, like a... See, Sketch gives you these global colors by default. We'll just use the second to lightest. And then give it a thickness of like maybe 5. And since we're creating an adventure brand, let's make some mountains. I know it's a little stereotypical, but for sake of time, I'm just gonna make a quick little kind of mountain graphic. So let's go to Vector, and then let's just draw this. I'm gonna hold Shift as I draw. See if I hold Shift, so if I click it, it straightens it out. I believe it gives you like a 45-degree angle or something like that. So we'll click that. We'll just make some little simple mountains. Nothing crazy here. And then we'll bring our thickness up to 5 to match the outside. And then up here, you're gonna click Finish Editing. So this is your whole path that you have here. You can keep going and finish that up, or just click Finish. So similar to Illustrator. And then we're gonna match up that color with our color picker. So our color picker gives you like a little magnification. And we're just gonna go over the same color we had earlier. So now we have like a little icon that could serve as like our logo. And then maybe we'll just make a some text that can accompany this graphic. So let's go to Insert Text and just click, and then it puts some like lorem ipsum there for you, or some type something lorem ipsum. So we're just gonna type let's see, cool hipster young adventure brand. I'm thinking coastal nomad. Yeah, that's cool. And let's make this a little bit bigger. So maybe like a 30. And maybe we can go bold on this Calibri font. That's cool. Actually, I kind of want to go something else. Maybe circular. There, that looks cool. So Coastal Nomad, this is the name of our little brand. I might shrink this down a little bit more, actually. Okay. Let's go down to like 4. Kind of match the weight of the font a little bit more. So I'm going to select both of these. I'm going to right click. I'm going to go Group Selection. I believe there's a hotkey for that. I'll put it in the edit. But we're going to rename this, double click on this and call it Logo. So now we have our logo. I'm going to drag it up on top of our navigation bar. And I'm just going to label this the background of my navigation bar, just background, just so that I know. And I'm going to click on my logo and I'm going to click on the background. So I'm shift selecting both. And I'm going to go to my alignment tool up here. These are all your alignment tools. This one right here is center. So if I click that, it aligns horizontally. So it centered our logo within this navigation bar, which is what we want. Once you've done that, you want to zoom in. I always like to zoom in when I'm creating like links and stuff because we're going to do just that. We're going to create a link. So we're going to go to Insert, Text, click. That's way too big. Let's try maybe like a 16 at first. And let's go to like a book size font. Here we go. Let's just type about. This is our first little link here. And let's make it a text style. So I'm going to click right here. There's a little thing that says no text style. We're going to click that and go to create new text style. It sounds like I'm saying textile, like a textile shop. Anyways, let's go ahead and just call it nav link inactive. Now, if I make any more, let's just say I made another another link in a different font, or say bold and like Aquatico or something like that. If I typed blog as our other link and I lined it up, all I have to do is go to text style and go to nav link and see what it just did there. It updated it for me. So it saves you a lot of time and headache later when you want to apply a style to your typography or your text, so that, you know, you kind of have all your styles in one little area like this, and you have kind of like a library of your styles. So I find that very helpful when you're working on multiple pages. So let's just make a few more links here, and maybe we can make a search icon. So we'll go to insert again, shape, oval. I'm gonna hold shift and alt, and I'm gonna make a little like magnifying glass circle. So maybe like 18 points. We'll get rid of the fill, and we'll give it a thickness of about 2. We'll zoom in and see. This is what's cool about Sketch is like it's all vector based, so you get a little like really crisp like renderings of your graphics. Whereas if you're in Photoshop right now, unless you're making a vector, I think even if you make a vector, it'd look like bitmap. There'd be like little pixels that are all fuzzy on the edges. So that's what's cool about Sketch, and one of the big differences here. Let's go to insert, shape, and we'll go to align, and we'll just drag right here. This is our little magnifying glass. We'll just move this down. It's a little bit big. And you can also round this. So maybe we want to round this. Let's go to borders. And then the ends, we want it to be round. See? Cool. And then let's group this little guy. We're going to go to right click, group selection. And we're going to call him ICN for icon. Search. I'm just going to move him over. Oh yeah, let's turn our grids back on so we can see where this should go. All right, so let's just make it a rule that we don't put anything past this. This is like our container for our website. So if I had maybe like a mobile hamburger menu, we could just say that this is where it would kind of sit. But yeah, so looks good. Turn it back off. So now we have sort of like a really quick navigation. And, you know, you can get a little bit more fancy with this, but I'm just kind of making a quick navigation just for demonstration purposes. So now that we have that, let's group all of our elements. So everything we just made, right click, group selection, and we'll just put like nav header. That way, if I turn this on and off, it's all one element. You could also make this a symbol so that if we wanted to update anything on this, it would affect it every other place we have it on the site. So you can imagine you have like 30 pages on a website. If you wanted to change the blog text, or maybe the logo needed to change, if we made all this a symbol, it would update it on every single artboard for us. So let's go ahead and do that. Create symbol. We'll just call it nav header. So let me just show you. If I duplicate this, bring it down, come into here, and I move my contact button over, we'll go to return to instance. See how it just moved it for me? So that's what I'm talking about. It's like a smart object, basically. And it kind of like nests all these symbols into one big sheet for you. So when you have a bunch of different symbols going on, it'll put them all in this kind of symbols folder, almost like its own page or document. But we'll go back to page 1. We should probably call this, let's see, home page. Cool. And we'll delete that copy. So now that we have our navigation bar, let's make a hero image. So let's go to insert shape, go to rectangle, and let's just drag like we did before with the header, and just meet the edge. And let's see, 1440 by say, let's do like 650. We might change this later, but who knows. Take the border off. Let's make the fill 100% black because I might drop an image in there, and I want to probably lower the opacity of the image so that you can kind of see a little bit of the black behind. So now that we have our container here, let's find an image that we can use as our hero image to kind of introduce people to the site for the first time. So I'm going to go to the Google and go to burst.shopify.com. This is Shopify's stock photo site that they built. So thanks Shopify for making this an awesome resource. And they've got all these different categories and collections that you can kind of peruse through. So we want to go through nature. And see, you got some cool photos. Why is there so many goats right here? And sheep. There's a lot of goats here. Anyways, let's see if we can find an image that has people in it and kind of communicates a little bit more of that outdoor lifestyle. So this one will work. We got a person in there kind of right by the edge of this like river. So let's just copy that image. and let's just paste it on top. So it's kind of big, that's fine. We're gonna select both our container and our bitmap, so that's our image. And we're gonna right click and go to mask. And what it does, see, it puts it in there. We're gonna double click and make sure our bitmap is selected. And see, this is the entire image right here. So we're gonna scale it down to fit a little bit better. Holding shift as we scale, so it scales proportionately. And I might make my hero image a little bit bigger now that I look at it. But yeah, I want to make this container a little bit bigger, so I can just go up to here and go to like, say, 750. Just type it in, click enter. There you go. And then I talked about making this this image a little bit darker so that we could lay some text over it. So let's click on the image and let's go to, say, 85. See how it darkened it because I have that black fill behind this. Now we're going to add some text. So let's go to insert text and just click on top. And already we know we want this to be our kind of like main headline, so we're gonna make this bigger. Let's go to like a 65 for now. And let's go to bold, and let's make this white. And let's just say, let's see, coastal nomads. Maybe this is like their intro statement that kind of tells you a little bit about them. So let's try, we seek adventure. There we go. And let's go to center align, and then let's click on this text and our hero, and then click our alignment tool up here so we can center it. So there, it aligned it horizontally. And I want to make this a little bit bigger now that I look at it. Maybe like an 80? Yeah. Maybe a 90, screw it. This is like the first thing people see, so let's make it nice and big. Now I want to add maybe like a little intro, like a subtitle up top here. So it's like, maybe it says like, coastal nomads, we seek adventure. So let's insert some more. Actually, we'll just duplicate this, holding Alt and Shift. And let's make this about half the size, 45. And let's do coastal nomads. Is that what I said? Coastal nomad? Coastal nomad. But I might make this a different font to contrast a little bit better. So let's go to, let's find like a condensed uppercase kind of font. So if I go through my, maybe DIN condensed, let's just do all uppercase. So I think if you go to options, text transform, we'll go to uppercase. And then we will, we'll go to character here and type in about 8, space it out. And let's bring this down a little bit, maybe like a 18. That's a little tiny, maybe like a 23. And then let's give it a little bit more space. Let's do like a 8. There we go. It's always nice to kind of kern out your text a little bit like this to make it more, I don't know, like elegant and kind of classy or sophisticated. I find that when you do that, it just kind of looks a little bit more premium. So let's do coastal nomad. And let's give this a little underline. So let's go to insert shape, line, and just kind of drag this underneath. This is just sort of a design element. And maybe we'll go with like a cool like burnt orange or something to kind of contrast with our background. So let's find something. That looks pretty cool. And then let's go to thickness, maybe like 3. Let's just zoom in so we can see what we're doing here. So it looks pretty good. You can align this perfectly on your own. We're just going to kind of quickly just make sure it's kind of spanning the width of the text. And so I'll group these two. Group selection. We'll call this intro text for lack of a better naming scheme. And then we'll call this, we'll actually make this a text style. Let's call it, let's see, hero text. That way any hero image we make on the site, we could just copy this style and we wouldn't have any issues. We could do the same with that, but we're fine with that for now. So, and then I'll group these two together, group selection, and we'll just call this titles. And now that I look at this, I want to make this image a little bit darker because it's still, there's a little bit of busyness happening here. So let's go to like a 80, 75. Yeah, I think 75 works. Now let's make a button. Maybe there's like a call to action to kind of get people to explore the site more. So let's go to insert shape, rectangle, and let's just draw in a box and just expand it. Oops. See, I have my lock on. That's why I did that. Scaled it proportionally. Let's just unlock that. and then expand this over here. You can also just type this in. So let's do like a 180, maybe like 45 is our height. And then I'm gonna click this, and I'm also gonna shift click our hero image, and I'm gonna click align. So that perfectly aligned it. You gotta work smarter, not harder. I mean, you can work harder too, but, and let's make this the same burnt orange color. So let's go to our fill, and let's just click this, and let's just click our burnt orange. And what would be a good idea now that we're starting to kind of get an idea of like our colors and our styles, if you go to the colors here, you can make some document colors. So let's just click that burnt orange and click add new preset. So now we have that. So now whenever we want to use that orange, it's already in our color palette. And then let's grab this. Maybe we want to use the same text for our button font. So let's grab that, copy it, and let's zoom in and paste it. Now it's a little big now, so we'll probably go to like a 14 or 15. Let's try 15. And it's center aligned. Let's click both of them, center align them, and let's do a vertical alignment too. So now we know that this is perfectly centered horizontally and vertically within this button here. And I might go to 14 now that I see it. So let's make this button a symbol. Let's group it first. Let's call it BTN main. So that's our button, that's our main button, and then let's go to let's go to create symbol, and we'll hit OK. And see what it did here? It made this thing called overrides. So if I make another button, bring it down here, it recognizes that there's text within that button. So if I want to type in a new label here, so let's say about us. See how it updated that without updating that one? So this is really useful if you have a bunch of different buttons on a site and they all have to share the same style. You can update the text without updating every single one. So you would think that it would be like a smart object where you update it and then it made that one about us, but that's not the case because Sketch is super smart and it's currently better than Photoshop for user interface design. Sorry guys. So let's go ahead and get rid of that one and let's move this one up. And I just want to make sure that I'm aligning this to the bottom of the text here. And then let's hold shift and go 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we know it's 40 pixels away from that. Let's do the same with this guy up here. Let's go to the top of our biggest letter character. 1, 2, 3, 4. There. Now they're like distributed evenly from each other. And we're going to put our button within the titles. And even though it's not a title, we're just going to keep them grouped so that if we wanted to grab this element, we can move it around. It's fine. Cool. So now we have a hero image that's looking pretty nice. Let's make it a slider. So if we wanted to feature multiple images, this would be the first one. So let's go to Insert, Shape, Oval, and let's hold Alt and Shift as we create this. We'll make it, I don't know, 12 by 12. Let's get rid of the border. This will be the active like slide indication dot. So we'll go to 100% white, and then we'll just hold Alt and bring it over here, maybe about 15 pixels or so. And this will be the inactive state. So we'll get rid of the fill, go to borders, and we'll make this 100% white. And then we'll just duplicate this again. Maybe there's 3, and see they're each 15 pixels apart. We'll shift click all of these and we'll group these. And we'll call them pager dots. You might have a different name for them, but that's what I've called them in my line of work. And see if I hold shift and I kind of bring in, like you can see that it's basically telling us that we're centered within the document right now. So let's make some arrow navigation so that if anybody wants to click through the different hero images, they don't have to just click this. They can click the arrows, because I think people like to navigate in different ways. So let's give the user more options for a way of doing that. So let's go to Insert, Shape, Line, and let's just draw. Maybe we want to make it the same height as this button. We'll go about halfway here, and let's make the thickness about 3. And we'll just duplicate this, and then we will flip this little guy and zoom in. Let's just match up our corners here. Cool. Now let's group this. We'll call it arrow. We'll call it icon, arrow, right. And then we'll make this little guy 100% white, so it contrasts with the background. And then make sure we have our group closed, and we'll just drag them over here. holding shift. Make sure it's straight. Actually, we'll select that. We'll click our background hero image, and then we'll go to our vertical align and see how it kind of put it right in the middle there. So now that we've created all these elements, we just want to make sure that we group all this stuff within our hero image. So let's just grab our icon, our pager dots, our titles, and let's just put it inside our hero. There, now our whole hero is one kind of big element that we have grouped, just in case we want to move it around. It's all united, and we just, keeps things clean. So we have our header, our hero. So now that we have this all looking nice, let's make a section that can maybe send people deeper into the site for other maybe category pages or whatever it is. Let's just make some content here. So let's go to insert, text, go ahead and click, and we're gonna go back to our circular font. And let's take all this spacing out. And then let's just go to this dark color and make this about, let's say 36. And let's go to like 48 actually. And then let's just left justify this. And then let's turn our guides back on. So I want it to align to maybe this guy right here, this little gutter. And then let's just, before we do this, let's just see what content we're going to put in here. So let's go find a photo. I'm actually going to go to Mndsgn, which is another cool stock photo site. Oh, let's just go with the editor's pick. This is sweet. This looks like a Bigsby Canyon Bridge in Big Sur. And let's just drag this into our document. So you can just grab your image, plop it into Sketch. Whoa, that's pretty big. So let's just scale it down and bring it into here. Holding shift and alt as we scale it down to keep it proportional. Now I want to make a container for this because this is probably, every image you drag in is probably gonna be a different size. So let's go to insert, shape, rectangle, and then let's just use our guides as a guide. Maybe 540 by 540, that looks okay. Again, let's make this 100% black. Oh, that's our border, 100% black. And then let's do what we did earlier and just put our photo on top of the rectangle and click mask, right click mask. There are images in there. Let's turn this these guides off now. And then let's just size this accordingly. Make sure that we get a nice little crop here. So we can see the girl and the bridge. This looks cool. Now that we know what our content is, let's just title it, maybe we're talking about this specific area. So big, exploring, Big Sur. If you haven't been to Big Sur, you should definitely check it out. It's really awesome. So let's make some body copy here. So let's go ahead and add a text box. Let's just drag it kind of like on our grid here. And then I'm gonna go to this site that I usually use, Hipster Ipsum. Hipster Ipsum. It's just funnier than Lorem Ipsum, and I feel like when I give this to developers, they kind of laugh at it. So click Beer Me. And it generates a bunch of random kind of hipster Lorem Ipsum stuff. So let's just grab that, copy it, and then let's just paste it into our text box. And then let's just turn our thing off. Kind of line this up. Actually, let's turn it back on to make sure that we're lined up properly. There we go. That looks pretty good. So now we have like a featured image and we have some text. Maybe we want to add a button. So let's grab this button that we made a symbol of, copy it. Let's paste it down here and then align it to everything. So let's go to 1, 2, 3, 4, I think is what we did. And for this one, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. Actually, 4 looks a little crazy there. Let's go 3. 3 and 3. So 30 pixels from each element is what our spacing is there. And then let's just group this. Group selection. Let's go text left. And then I would advise that you make this a text style. Maybe this is our H1. Create new text style. H1 headline. And then let's call this our body copy. So let's make a text style for this. Create new text style. Body copy. You can name these whatever you want, but that's just what I'm gonna do for now. And then for our button, we don't want it to go to About Us since basically that's going to the About Us. we can just click our button here and then just type, maybe it's read more. Bam, look at that. And see, it didn't affect that one because it's its own symbol. I actually don't like that this is a square, so I might make this a more of a rectangle shape. So let's turn the lock off. Let's go to like 490. Yeah, let's do like 420. Haha, 420. And then let's just make this a little bit smaller. I think it was just taking up too much height. And there you can see more of the image now. More of a standard kind of picture format. And then I'm going to click both these elements and just align them vertically. Cool, so this is basically centered within that block. Grab both of my pieces of content here. And what I usually do is I'll make a background in this area. So let's go to Insert, Shape, Rectangle. And I'm just going to drag this down so that it has its own container. So let's do 1440 by, let's say, 650. Just type that in. Made it on top of it, but we'll just drag it down. And we'll make this 100% white. Get rid of the border. And we'll just call this background container. And then grab our elements, grab the background, shift click all these, see how they're all selected. And then let's go to vertical align. And then are we on our grid? We are on our grid. I might move this over actually right here so that they're on the same distance from the edge of the browser window. We'll turn it off. Let's bring in this element because I like this. Maybe we can put it on top of the Exploring Big Sur. So let's just go in here and grab it, copy, and then paste it. And let's just put it on top of our Exploring Big Sur. Now I need to change the color of this text. Let's go to that color. Maybe since this is not the hero image, we make this a little smaller. We go to like, say 18. Yeah, 18 looks better. We'll just make sure, we'll do left justified. We'll just make sure it's lined up, and then we'll make our line a little bit smaller. And then maybe this is like some kind of intro title too. Be bold and brave. I don't know. I'm not a copywriter, guys. We're gonna call this image right. And we're gonna make it a symbol. And then we're gonna make this a symbol as well. And text left. Cool, so now we have two symbols, and we're gonna group all these together. We wanna keep everything nice and compartmentalized, almost as like they're components. So we're gonna group these and call it text, left, image, right. So now, if I make another one of these, let's just make our canvas a little bit bigger. So if you click on the name where the artboard is, just drag down. If I duplicate this entire section and I double click, I can change the image by clicking this override. So what's cool about this is if I click on my image, I'm going to choose image, go to my downloads, open, and it should update my image. There you go, see? Because it's a smart, not a smart object, a symbol, it basically will let you override it with any image you want to upload. So that's very helpful when you're designing multiple pages and you want to reuse components. You can just update the content within it. So let's go ahead and do the same idea with our text. So let's click on that, and let's go to travel and I don't know, capture. See how it updated that? And then let's go to our title. Sightseeing in SF. See how very quickly I didn't have to redesign anything. I just copied and just updated my information very quickly. So maybe we want to separate these two sections with a nice little quote, and this is where that'll live. So let's find another image. Let's go back to Mndsgn, and let's find an image that we can lay some text over. Here, this will work. Let's just copy this, or let's download this, I should say. Thank you, Gills Lambert. I probably should have thanked everybody else while I use their images as well, but we're just using this for an example. So let's select both our images, mask them, just shrink this guy down. This is just going to be kind of like a texture anyways, so it doesn't need to be super vivid or anything. It's more just kind of like a background texture for a quote. Maybe somebody is giving a testimonial about coastal nomads, and this is a good spot to do it. So it creates kind of credibility. So let's just let's grab this text, copy it, and paste, and then let's make it white. And then we will center justify this, align it vertically and horizontally. See that? And let's just let's find a picture of a person that we could use that could be our testimonial person. Here we go. We use this girl. So we'll download this. She looks happy, and we'll bring her image in once it's done downloading. Drag it in. And let's just turn her eyeball off real quick, and then let's make a new layer. So let's make a shape oval, and this will be like a little like thumbnail of her face. So we'll go like 70, and we'll turn our picture back on, and we'll put her on top, and just mask her in there. Now this image is huge, so we have to size this down real quick. We'll just bring it down. Bring it downtown. Let's make sure her face is in there. There we go. She's a nice, happy looking girl. And let's just turn this down a little bit. Turn the opacity down just a tad, maybe like a 80%. And so this is like something that she would be saying. So she's not saying exploring Big Sur. We want her to say like, see little quotes here. Coastal nomads are friggin' rad, yo. So she has something good to say about coastal nomads. Let's give her like a little name. So let's just grab this text. Make her text white. And let's call her Hillary Duff, because I haven't heard anything about Hillary Duff in the news lately, and I miss her, and she's awesome. So there's our Hillary Duff girl. It's probably not her real name. I might actually make this a little bit smaller and just center that. Let's grab all this and just make sure it's nicely centered here. And there's a little testimonial. To save time, we're not going to make a footer. I'll show you like in another tutorial. But look, very quickly we made this like landing page that's branded pretty nicely, and it's consistent with its look and feel, with some nice stock images. And you're using symbols to reuse elements that otherwise would have taken you like maybe double the time to kind of recreate. There it is. So hopefully this video helped you learn a little bit more about Sketch and some of the features that you could use to speed up your workflow. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, and I will be back next week with another video. So leave some comments, guys.